everyone, and welcome back to Arts and Crafts and CPTSD. Today I'm going to be making a headpiece for a Halloween costume, and things get a little chaotic. I wanted to be a flower fairy, so this headpiece was meant to look like an upside down flower, and it was meant to sit like a hat, but it didn't exactly turn out the way I had hoped, and the entire journey was a bit of a shit show, but I had a lot of fun making it. You can see that here I tried to use pencil to outline it, and I will soon realize that you can't see it, so I will use Sharpie. Later on in the video you'll see that I was supposed to make 2 of each petal so that I could put the wire in between, and so I have to find a makeshift way to hide the wire in each petal. And then you will see that I got the wrong size glue sticks for the glue gun and tried various means of gluing this on, including using a candle lighter to warm up the glue and putting it on there, which I don't recommend and is dangerous to use an open flame like that, so I don't show me actually using the lighter. I try nail glue, that did not work, and in the end I just did not like the results, but I stand by it. I still had fun. I will have to go out and get a different costume. I've always loved dressing up for Halloween, classroom parties, costume parades, and attention from adults. My favorite costumes as a child were princess and witch. As I got older, I started to craft my own costumes. I've DIY'd a Mary Poppins costume, a shrimp, and Shrek. I've now swapped the classroom parties for house parties, but I have to admit I haven't given up on trick-or-treating. So you can imagine how disappointing it was a few years ago when I had to cancel all of my Halloween plans because of migraines. I had a costume, had agreed to a weekend birthday trip and Halloween party, but my migraine never went away, and I ended up spending the night dressed as the Queen of Hearts at home. I've been getting migraines since my teens, apparently, but I didn't know what they were until my mid-20s. I'd always ask my mom what the difference between a headache and a migraine was, and she would just say, "Trust me, if you're having a migraine, you'll know it." So since I didn't know it, I didn't know I was having migraines until decades later when I finally looked up the symptoms and saw light sensitivity, nausea, and fatigue. But throughout my life, migraines were only occasional nuisances. I would get them once every few months for a few hours at a time. But in September 2021, I got a migraine that lasted 3 days and knocked me out of commission completely. I scheduled a doctor's appointment as soon as I could, but before they could fit me in, I had a second migraine that lasted 15 days. I had never been in so much pain for so long. When I finally saw a doctor through my law school's health services, he asked me when I was graduating. When I answered May, he said, "Great, so we have until then to figure this out." At the time, I genuinely didn't believe it would take that long. I thought he was joking or he just didn't know. But in the end, it took about 2 years for me to figure out what was going on and to find something that would give me my life back. After finishing law school online, losing my top 10% class rank, studying for and passing the bar while in severe pain, starting my first job as an attorney, and being asked by my boss to take a leave of absence because of my migraines, I was desperate. It felt like my life was falling apart. I couldn't plan for my future with my partner because I didn't know how I could be the partner and eventually mother I would want to be with my migraines. I tried every medical intervention I could. The doctor referred me to a neurologist who did blood work, shot medicine up my nose, injected medicine into my back, infused magnesium into my veins, and prescribed a bunch of other take-home meds. I'm not against pharmaceuticals, but none of them worked on my migraines. I took vitamin B and coenzyme Q10 and even more magnesium as supplements at home. I gave up drinking alcohol and all forms of caffeine. I gave up chocolate and anything else that could possibly be a trigger. I lived in the dark, and if I did go out, I wore a giant hat and sunglasses, so I ended up looking like someone poorly going undercover. I bought at-home devices claiming to help. I got acupuncture twice a week and took Chinese herbs until I couldn't afford to anymore. And ultimately, all these physical measures didn't work because my problem wasn't physical. In the end, after years of searching and draining a $10,000 emergency fund, the answer I found was simple and free, but also hard. I needed to address my emotions that I had been bottling up since I was a child. A podcast called The Cure for Chronic Pain really helped me get into it. I started journaling about every bad thing that's ever happened to me or around me. The first few weeks of doing this, I sobbed every time. I had to do it at least once a day to keep my pain tolerable. And after a few months of doing it consistently, my pain went from constant to occasional. Now I only need a journal like this occasionally if a migraine comes along, but migraines come much more infrequently now, back to once every few months for a few hours at a time. Although this entire experience was costly and painful, both physically and emotionally, I gained so much from it, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm grateful for everything it taught me about myself and the world of chronic pain generally. First, about myself, I learned that I can do hard things. During those 2 years of nearly constant migraines, I had to find ways to do daily necessities as well as larger tasks like studying for the bar exam while in pain. I learned my limits and how to stay within them, and I learned how to make my life easier in some areas to help me save more energy in others, like keeping protein bars and electrolytes by my bed to help me recover on my worst days. All of this showed me tangibly that I can handle difficult situations. I learned that I like being sober. Since college, I have enjoyed drinking pretty regularly, and typically at 2+ drinks a night. After cutting out alcohol during this period, I was surprised to find that I didn't miss it much. I had just as much fun hanging out without drinking, if not more fun because I wasn't anxious about what I said or did while inebriated. I learned that feelings and emotions are hard and scary, but they are ultimately what make me feel the most alive. There were so many things I didn't understand before, about life, about society, about myself. Like the entire scene in the Barbie movie where Barbie is told to close your eyes and feel, and a montage of womanhood and girlhood is playing and she cries. I didn't get that before. But after putting in the work to identify, feel, and process my emotions, I understand so much more now. It's been really hard to directly face the feelings and events that I've been avoiding for decades, but it's also been the most rewarding journey of my life. And all of this emotional pain that I put off feeling has been much more tolerable than the chronic physical pain of migraines. I've learned to be so grateful for every day I'm pain-free. I have a newfound appreciation for being able to physically go out and do things, being able to make plans and stick with them. It's so easy in your 20s and going into your 30s to take your body and health for granted, and this was a giant reminder that nothing is guaranteed. Now about chronic pain more broadly. I see so many people, women especially, with chronic pain that is oftentimes unexplained. And that's in part due to medical sexism, both in practice and in research. But I also wonder if these people could be helped by the same processing of emotions and trauma that I did. I meet people or see people online who match the pattern I had, of complex trauma in childhood, mental health issues, and unexplained chronic pain. If I was able to reclaim a chronic pain-free life, I have hope that they can too. I especially couldn't help but see this potential in my mom. She also had a traumatic childhood. She never had the tools or the chance to process. And ever since I was a kid, I've seen her suffer from various health issues, with the most chronic and debilitating one being fibromyalgia. I can't help but wonder if she could be helped by finally facing her own feelings and experiences. If you'd like to learn more about the process I use to cure my chronic migraines, I highly recommend the podcast, The Cure for Chronic Pain by Nicole Sachs, particularly if you've tried everything with no relief. This is a great free option to try at home. I just passed 2 years of being nearly migraine-free, and I wish I could say that I don't take any pain-free day for granted, but the truth is I do. It's easy to forget how limited I was, how much pain I was in now that I don't have to face it every day. I get caught up in wanting more and more from my life and forget to be grateful for what I have. So this Halloween I'll dress up in some other costume, not this, go to a party, and appreciate being able to do so.